and it's not weird.
Yeah.
But it really is just us being like, hey, do you want to hang out and talk about a structured topic for 2 hours? All right, let's do it. So I think that's really, and like even to this case, like if I like sent you a message being like, hey, you don't know me, but you want to talk on the phone for 2 hours, you'd be like, no, what? I don't, that's weird, don't do that. But if I call it a podcast, it's not weird and it totally works. So it's definitely a very interesting way to make it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pipeline Podcast, episode 172. Hope everyone is having a wonderful 2025. We're a couple weeks into the new year, or six, not 25. We're not going backwards a whole year. 2026. We have, I guess this is kind of our last, end of the year, beginning of the year kind of mantra. As of next week, we'll start getting into the meat and potatoes of 2026. But 2026 had a lot of, I guess December of 2025 had a lot of movies that I either missed out on. We had an Avatar, we had a Marty Supreme, we had some things I'm not going to be talking about today, like Anaconda and Five Nights at Freddy's. And this is going to be the episode to kind of recap some of the things I've missed. And to help me do that today, we are here with a very special guest. We have the one, the only, the fabulous, the amazing host, one of the hosts of the Long List podcast, Josh Loves Movies. Josh, how's it going today? How are you?
It's going great. Thanks so much. And really appreciate you having me on. I think we've both been kind of on the periphery of each other's content for a while. So it's really fun to get on here and talk some movies with you. And I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. No, thank you. Yeah, you've been on, I think we attempted something later last year, and for whatever reasons it didn't work out, either scheduling or just so many times I'll reach out to someone for a topic. It's like, dude, I'd love to, this is great, I just don't know that said topic, and I'm like, word, gotcha, 100%. I'll reach back around in a little bit to kind of readjust.
Yeah, and I personally think that's super cool. I don't know that any of us have hit it big yet. So the fact that you're reaching out to some different content creators and just wanted to do collaborations is just a really cool idea, and I really appreciate it.
Of course. I love, and I bet you probably have experienced it a little bit too, but the TikTok side of things is so cool because everyone kind of gets to be like, hey, I like movies and I just kind of want to use this little platform to talk about it. And there's so many of these people that are like, hey, got 10 followers, but let me just talk about these movies I love. It's like, that's so awesome. That's so cool. And I'm slowly just trying to gather all these like-minded nerds that are just like, let me talk about movies.
100%. And I'm 1000% with you because, I think we're all putting our stuff out there, and hopefully it leads to something. And if it doesn't, at least we've sort of found a community where we can all get together and discuss the things we like. And that's kind of what this is all about. I talk about movies all the time in my daily life. My family's getting sick of it, quite frankly. So I like finding this community so we can get on board and talk about the things that we really like.
100%. No, yeah, it's super, I think, important in any topic, any industry, any whatever, to just have that space to express, get all those emotions and thoughts and feelings out into the world, even if it's out to the ether where no one can hear. It's just it's out there. It's out there somewhere. Those thoughts
and you say no one can hear, but yet we've heard each other and we've found some people, and this is kind of how, I don't know if we're making friends with all the people that we're interacting with our content, but at least we're finding some like-minded people to discuss some of this stuff. Finding our hive.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, obviously, again, welcome to the show. It's we have a fun episode ahead.
Yeah, thanks again.
One of my favorite things about that, while we're on the topic, is when I'm reaching out to someone and I end up loving the content when I'm doing my research to bring them on. You have a great podcast. You have an absolutely phenomenal podcast.
What a nice thing to say. Thank you.
Absolutely. I've been listening to for the last couple of days. I watched your adaptation episodes yesterday. Fantastic back and forth.
That was a long one. Yeah.
Yes. And then I haven't finished it yet, but I dived into it.
I don't know that anyone has. It got longer than we thought.
But I dived into your Warner Brothers one as well today.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And well, you have a great back and forth. You guys have great chemistry. You have a great format. So
thanks so much.
I would love to just kind of dive into that a little bit. Like, I want to know for the audience who maybe don't know you as well, or I guess I also don't know you as well either because we literally this first time meeting whatsoever.
Yeah.
But tell me the vibe with Josh Loves Movies, with the Long List podcast you run with your brother from the
Correct.
info
Yeah.
that I've gathered. So tell me kind of just about that vibe.
Yeah. So my brother and I have been watching movies for as long as he's been alive. And we have constantly talked, debated, argued, gotten in fights over movies. And these are things we love that are ultimately, in the end, not that important, but they're important to us. They're important to other people. And we've been talking about doing this for, I don't know, maybe 5 years. And I would say over last year, it was probably about a year ago, a little bit less, a little bit more than a year ago, where um, we had a weekend together over Christmas, maybe a couple pops deep, and we were just saying, why aren't we doing this? We're talking about this all the time. Why don't we just hit the record button and see how it goes? So this past year has been our first year. We sort of worked our way through some of different formats that we could use, and essentially the concept of the podcast is that we take a topic on a given week. You mentioned a couple of them, but we do a bunch of different topics, and they can range from a filmmaker, an actor, a given movie. We did one where it was just all in one day movies. Any topic is on the table, and then we break that topic down through ranked lists, because that's kind of how my brother and I have expressed our love for things over the years, and we just figured that was the way to do it. So that's basically it. And my brother also does some content. His content's a little bit different. His is shorter reels where he does some script on screen, and his is Watch Jack Watch Movies, if anybody's listening and wants to interact with his content. And we have a blast. We bring a lot of different guests on. To this point, most of them are friends, but we really want to do what you're doing. And I, again, commend you, where you reach out to smaller content creators and try to spread the word with other people's voices. So I think that's really cool. Would love to have you on our podcast when we figure out a time and topic.
Yes, absolutely. No, that's, I was kind of just thinking about that today. And I think I think that must be very cool to kind of have that thing you get to do with someone so close to you. It feels like I've had close friends that I have gone through their co-hosting runs. They tamper often for a while for life reasons or stuff like that. But you grow very close with someone when you're every week you're okay, this time let's plan it out, let's talk about it. You grow close pretty quickly. Not to dive too much into your personal life, but
no. Yeah.
have you guys got closer via doing this show? Do you feel like that's a great bonding opportunity for you guys just to kind of do your thing?
I think I don't know if we've gotten closer necessarily, because we've always been very close. But to your point, he moved. I'm in the Bay Area, and he moved. I guess you could technically. I don't know how familiar you are with the Bay Area. He moved about 45 minutes away to a city called Palo Alto, and after he did that, we would see each other. We would text. We would call. But we just wouldn't see each other as much as when he lived down the street from me. So now we have, not that I'm looking for excuses to call my brother, but we have to call each other. We have to text. We have to figure out the next episode, and I see him every week. So that part has been a really nice, I'm not saying it's all been smooth because we differ on a lot of opinions, but it has been really nice to see him regularly and to communicate with him regularly throughout the week. I don't know that we ever would have drifted apart, but now it's impossible because we're doing this project together, which is really, really nice.
That's I 100% get that feel. I there's set of friends that I have that are we're all scattered all over the place, from Ireland to Chicago to Florida. We have a friend group, and I have realized I have literally used this podcast to just hang out with my friends. Ultimately what it is, it's me being I could reach out and be like, hey, do you just want to hang out? Do you just want to hop on a phone call for 2 hours? But it's no. Let's put a camera in front of it, and then it's not weird.
Yeah.
But it really is just us being like, hey, do you want to hang out and talk about a structured topic for 2 hours? All right, let's do it. So I think that's really, and even to this case, if I sent you a message being like, hey, you don't know me, but do you want to talk on the phone for 2 hours? You'd be like, no, what? That's weird. Don't do that. But if I call it a podcast, it's not weird, and it totally works. So it's definitely a very interesting way to make friends.
It really is. But like you said, now this is a new connection, I mean, this is a great way to meet new people, to find people that like the same things. This is a really great. And again, I know I've said it twice, but this is a really cool thing you're doing.
Appreciate that. That is very, very sweet. But Josh, I pulled up a couple of like mostly movie related get to know you questions. Some are
Okay.
not dirty, or like some are not directly movie. Um, Josh, what's your current hyperfixation in
Hyperfixation.
the movie world, the TV world, maybe comics, maybe music? Again, I don't know the full list of your interests, but is there something that you're just like really hyper fixated on, where like that's my vibe right now?
Yeah, well, I tell you, my movie fandom. I used to be really big into baseball, and like I said, I'm from the Bay Area, and I was an A's fan. I don't know how much you follow baseball, but they moved, so that was my hyperfixation for the first 37 years of my life, and they moved. So I really dove into movies hard when they moved,
Oh,
because baseball is out of my life. So I have been trying to not only dive into movies more intentionally. But and by that I mean I want to put the phone down. I want to turn the lights off. I want to like focus on it, and I want to get better at in real time deciding what I do and don't like about a movie, rather than trying to just let it wash over me and think about it later.
mhm.
And I'm trying to keep up much more on current movies, like the movies that have come out this year. I did an okay job this year, but I didn't do great. I'm going to try to do that better next year. And the reason is because I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, and when they were young, like I don't know if you have kids, but
I don't know.
when they're young, my brain was scrambled eggs, and I just missed like 7 years of movies. Not all of them, of course, but like this year I probably watched 50 movies or something like that. But in the years where they were born, I probably averaged like 5. Like 5 new movies. I just didn't have the capacity to do that. So I'm really trying to keep up to date and then catch up on those, what I like to call the 7-year gap. There's a bunch of movies that I didn't get to. I'm trying to catch up with those on the meantime. And then I'm also, the other thing that I guess I'm trying to do is really fill out sort of my holes on my resume, I guess you could say, like directors that I've seen a few movies and I really like, but I haven't seen the filmography, maybe from the earlier years. So I'm trying to do that.
That's incredible. I feel that in the way of like, I wouldn't say we weren't a movie household when I was growing up, but like we weren't really going out to movies because that's not really something we could have like afforded growing up,
Right.
stuff like that. And like, I there are so many movies that I have just not seen. Obviously, I have my like, like we talk a lot of like comic book movies on here. It's like, yes, I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah, yeah.
like all the Marvels and DCs and stuff. Like I get those,
Yeah.
but like so many directors, so many movies, and like that's my goal this year in particular, to be like there are massive, massive franchises I've never dived into. In March, I'm planning on doing like a Lord of the Rings go through. I've never
Mm.
seen that trilogy where
Oh,
like Pirates of the Caribbean this year, or
yeah,
something else.
yeah,
Honest, like some of these like big movies where it's like, wait, you haven't seen blank, and where
yeah,
I've always seen it as this like disadvantage, but like now I'm kind of like, well, let's like make that into a thing. Like let's make
yeah.
that the market. It's like, oh, I'm watching blank for the first time, and let's have that conversation. So
So,
that's
like, how are you gonna go about? Like, are you just gonna like pick a weekend and do them in order, or how does one? What's your plan if you have one?
I don't. I think I'm really bad at like procrastinating, so I definitely have to
Same.
like plan in advance, because my mind is like, oh, we're doing it in like 4 days. Let's get them watched, and I'm scrambling. What I need to do is like pre-watch them in advance. Be like, okay, we're doing this the 6th. Start 3 weeks earlier, and then make
Yes.
it through. So that's. I'm going to try and do better about that this year, and hopefully I can line that up well.
That's
But
interesting you said that. I don't know if you found the same thing, but like for our podcast, we have a set topic that we're doing. And
yeah,
so usually I have something that I actively have to research for that week. And so like all the movies that are like on the side that don't have to do with that, I still haven't been able to get to. Almost have to engineer an episode around that so that I can figure out how to watch all those movies. So that's interesting that you said that. I definitely feel that.
I've definitely found like not to get way off topic, but like I definitely found that I'm kind of only watching things like for the show, where it's
Yes.
like especially like older movie. Like I can watch a new movie because it's new and relevant and stuff like that, but it's like, oh, you haven't watched anything for a month because you didn't plan a movie related podcast and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like I'm not watching many new shows unless I'm covering it for my other show. It's like more like TV, stuff. So it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot because I'm not in that mindset. But
Right.
but no, that's fun. Favorite movie theater snack, Josh?
Um,
Or maybe not at all. I'm not sure. Like maybe you don't like movie.
well, I'm not a big movie theater snack guy, but
Okay.
I do have a very clear favorite, and there's a 1 and 1A. I love peanut M&Ms and Sour Patch Kids. It's one or the other, or both, preferably. But got to watch my girlish figure too. So
Sure.
that was my favorite. Not a big popcorn guy. There's my hot take of the day.
Okay.
Don't like it. Gets stuck in my teeth. I don't know how the popcorn industry convinced everybody that it tastes good. I don't think it's good. I don't like the smell, but that's just me. Everybody can roast me if they want. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I do like a good popcorn. I am a fan of good popcorn.
I know I'm in the minority.
I like a good like nachos and cheese. I don't do it very often.
Yeah.
They're like freaking like $15 a thing. And it's like it's not worth it. But every now and again, I'll be like, you know what? Screw it. Let's get a nice nacho and cheese.
At Avatar, my wife got the nachos. So it's a recent pull for us. Nachos is one of those things where even the bad ones are good.
Yeah.
There's no bad nachos.
Yeah. Favorite episode of your podcast that you have done?
Great question. We recently did for our 25th, not recently, this was a few months ago, I guess, whatever that was. We recently did our top 25 favorite movies, which was really fun and a lot more difficult than you would think. I even have, are you on Letterboxd?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So I even have a Letterboxd list that like was set up. It was done. And I went into it. I was like, well, this is all wrong. I had to redo everything. And then my favorite part about that was that I also predicted my brother's top 25 movies too. And I think I got 18 out of 25 right. Not in the right order, but I think I got 18 of the 25, maybe 16. I can't remember. But that was a really fun episode.
That's cool. Now, when you talk about your favorite movies, is that like your favorite? Is that like the best, or do you have like a mix of both? Because that's something I struggle with sometimes.
Yes, another great question. Most of the time, it's a mix of both because I don't know how you feel about this. If it's a really, really good movie, I'm probably going to like it on some level. But no, this was my favorite. But they ended up being a lot of what I also consider the best.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, like I know some people are like, well, if it's the best movie of all time, it's my favorite movie of all time. And I think that's a fair take. But also, like, in my mind, it's like I have a lot of like nostalgic movies from my childhood that I wouldn't say are like the best of all time. Like I wouldn't say that like Love, Simon is the best movie of all time. It's a movie I really enjoy. Yeah.
Right.
So like to me, those are different lists, and like on mine, it's like, wait, should this go on here? I don't know. So I definitely think that's very interesting. The favorite movie director?
I have to go chalk here and say my guy Steve Spielberg. There are his detractors out there, and I think that's just trying to be argumentative on purpose. He's wonderful.
Yeah, he's an interest. Like, say what you want, he definitely makes iconic movies. Like, even if like, because I do think there's a little bit of a mixed bag there. Like, I don't love every like Spielberg movie.
100%.
But I think his track record's pretty great. More times than not. Yeah.
Well, he's also just made so many, so it's like, there's going to be some great ones. There's going to be some not great. Like I remember I saw Warhorse in theater. Hopefully you don't love the movie Warhorse, but like I was so excited for that movie, and it was just awful. I just hated it. I've never rewatched it. It's probably maybe if I did, it would be good. I don't know, but so everybody, a broken clock goes right twice a day. So
fair. You don't have to answer this one if you don't want to. What's the last movie that made you cry, or has there ever been a movie to make you cry?
Movies make me cry for sure. I'm trying to think. I think Train Dreams that came out a few months ago got me with Joel Edgerton, and that was a pretty emotional movie, and I was totally blown away by it. I probably watched something recently. I don't know. I'd have to like. I guess I could look at my phone during your next question and find out. But the movies that make me cry are usually in uplifting moments rather than really tragic moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like sports movies, they get me a lot. Even the bad ones, they get me a lot because of that uplifting moment at the end that you can usually predict.
Yeah, I'm a like tear, like a little tear on the outside of my eye.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like, I don't know if I've ever like fully like weeped at
Weeping.
I'm not like, but I'm like, oh gee, like I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh.
That's me too. That counts, right? I'm counting
That
that.
definitely
Okay,
counts.
yeah. That's what I'm counting. Yeah.
Yeah,
These are great
yeah.
questions.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if I've ever done the full like I don't know if I've ever done that, but maybe that's just because I'm not like, I guess like that emotionally intelligent. Like I don't know if I'm that in depth with my emotions at this point.
Yeah.
And again, that's probably not a great thing. That's maybe something you should check out a little bit. But like I think that's totally valid.
We're all moving forward.
Yeah, we're all. I'm trying to think like Avatar got me a little bit, like a little tiny bit. Like there was a couple scenes where I'm like, oh, dude, all right.
I felt the well a little bit, in the back of the throat. Yeah, I don't think we ever produced precipitation in the eyes, but I got a little choked.
Yeah, I think TV gets me more though.
Oh, interesting.
Because TV is such a journey, and I'm so invested in
That makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if you've seen it. A couple months ago, or probably half a year ago at this point, I finished The Good Place for the first time.
Oh, with yeah. Can't think of her name. Kristen Bell.
Yeah. Yes, Kristen Bell.
Yeah. That was a good show.
Weeped at the final episode.
Yeah.
I had only been I binged the show, so it wasn't like I watched over a great course of time.
Right.
I could not believe how like emotionally invested they got you by the end of that show, and how like devastating it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, shows will get me. Shows will get me, because especially if you're watching those. I mean, Stranger Things also just ended. Like that was also a big like. Yeah. Oh, 9 years of watching a show, and that ending will get me. Like that will get me to that point of like, oh my gosh.
That's a really good call.
Yeah. First rated R movie you saw in cinemas, or I guess just in general.
Great question. I think it was Speed from 1994. That's the one I tell people because I can remember watching it, and it wasn't in cinema. It was in the downstairs of my grandmother's house with all my older cousins, and they were like, "You're not supposed to watch this." I was like,
we're fine.
I'm a big kid now. It was great. It's still one of my favorite movies. That would probably be it. There might be some other sneakers in there that I'm not thinking about right around the same time, but that's probably it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I hear that answer a lot, where it's like it's not typically in cinemas. It's like, oh, it was on while my parents were asleep, and then I got terrified, but I couldn't tell them because I would get in trouble, kind of vibe. So like that's the source of our trauma, is like watching it when we were 12 or whatever. I was a scaredy cat as a kid. I could not watch
Me too.
Even Disney movies. Like I would, you'd put on like Snow White, and I was like, no, don't do this. Like Sleeping Beauty terrified me as a kid. I'm
with you. Those early Disney movies are pretty dark.
They're scary. Yeah. So like for a while, my mom was like, well, no, you're not watching anything even remotely scary whatsoever. Like you're staying away from everything. And so it took me a long time. Like I'm not like a horror movie guy at all. I like just this year. I watched it for the first time. I watched Aliens for the first time. I did Predator for the first time. So like I'm getting into these now, where it's like, oh, actually, I do kind of like some of these. Like I always thought I hated them, but it's like, oh no, I just didn't know that was a genre that I enjoyed. So
yeah, I am with you. And again, starting this my brother's not a big horror guy either, but horror is a big genre that people like, and so I just feel like if we're on here with a microphone talking about movies, we got to put in the work, Mm-hmm. But I'm with you. I really liked Weapons this year. I don't know if you saw that one, but it was gnarly.
I was like, oh, I hear this is scary, I'm not going. And then my 10-year-old stepbrother went.
Yeah.
He just wanted to go, and he just went on. I was like, if he saw it, I feel like I have to see. Like I can't use the excuse it's too scary. Like
Right.
I have to actually commit to it. But like I do have a line though, because like I'm not going to do like Exorcist. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
feels like a
yeah, yeah.
line where I'm like, no, I'm not going to do Terrifier. I hear that's insane. At least that
I'm with
I
you.
feel like you have to work your way there. I feel like, and I'm not
Yes.
quite there.
Yeah. I think again, just to use it. Weapons is like it's not too much in the jump scare category. It's a good one to like, it's fun
Or
too. So there's some disturbing scenes, but it's not. It's like low grade. It's not too bad. But
that's
I'm with you 100%.
I was like, there was an era where like I loved like Supernatural because that was the perfect like it's a bit of a spooky, but it's like you're not gonna get nightmares from watching Supernatural. It's like
Right.
fun scoop is it's like a fun like spooky and crawly. It's
Right.
like, hey, it's a zombie, So
Well, to your point, Stranger Things kind of enters in that
sure,
territory a
yeah,
little bit too. Not as much, but a little bit,
yeah.
especially that first season.
That for I mean, season 4 is kind of horrifying at times. Like
I
like
haven't
that
watched it yet.
sometimes is a full on like horror movie, and like that's the point. Like that's where they're kind of trying. Like that's where they're trying to hit. It's trying to homage to like Exorcist and like Friday
Nostalgic
the
sort of,
13th.
yeah,
Yeah. So
poltergeisty sort of a thing. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Um, iconic TV show you've never seen.
Oh, there's a bunch.
So many.
Um, I don't watch as many TV shows. Not to hammer the point home. I have two young kids.
100%. I get
We work schedules are weird with me and my wife, and for me, like when it's TV shows are so long, which is both good and bad because you get a bunch of content, and if it really hits, it's great. But if you invest all that time and then the ending sort of fumbles it at the 1 yard line, I'm always like a little bit mad. So I will say Severance, I have not started yet, and that's like the big show that everybody talks about that I just haven't dove into, and I'm sure I'll love it and I'll get to it eventually. I just haven't. There's a bunch, but I'll say Severance.
yeah, no, that's a good one. That's like
Yeah,
the modern, I think, like Breaking Bad Lost show. Like that's the one where like everyone is like, yeah, you gotta watch it. And
you
yeah,
got to watch it.
I did it
So
ahead of season 2 this or last year now, I guess. But it's one of those shows where it's like, oh yeah, everyone said it was great, and yeah, it was great. It was.
yeah, that's what everybody tells me. So I'm gonna get to it, and I'll get back to you.
It's in a year we'll have to have you back. It's like I watched it, I did the thing.
I got Severance. Here's my takes.
Yeah, I got, on my side. I mean, I think The Office is probably my biggest one.
Oh, me too. I've
Yeah.
tried too. So I don't know about you, but like everyone tells me The Office is great. You'd love it. Okay, great. So I watched the first season, and it's like really like tough humor to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
And then everybody's like, "Well, you just got to get through that." I was like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
"I don't want to get through that. Like this is, that's dumb." So I'll give The Office another shot. But I'm with you. I'm so glad that I found the only other person who hasn't seen The Office.
I'm with you. I tried the first 2 and I said this is awful. But
Yeah.
like I think the things I found with sitcoms though is I do need to allow them some like breathing room because I do believe and which is why I think sitcoms don't work in the modern era. You need sitcoms to have room to grow and evolve and learn its humor and learn its cast and learn its
Exactly.
audience.
If you go back and watch the first season of any sitcom, it's never as good as the later seasons.
It's not they yeah, because
They got to figure things out.
so much of the humor comes from you loving the characters and you don't love
Yes.
the characters yet, so it doesn't work. So yeah, I definitely have to give that one another shot. But I've slowly been making my way through the iconic shows. Like I did Lost a couple years ago.
Mm.
I did Game of Thrones ahead of House of the Dragon coming out. There's a couple I'm missing. I'm missing Buffy. Buffy's like another big one I want to
Buffy.
mark off my list.
Yeah.
Buffy, yeah, that'd be great. I did Avatar during COVID, which that's now one of my favorite shows of all time. That's obviously a banger.
I've seen some of that. My kids and my wife would watch it when I would go to work at night, and they just they would, I would see every third episode. And it was great, but like I was like, I don't know what's going on. So they'd be like, "Don't worry, this person's." I was like, I don't even know the words you're saying. So, but it was the things I saw were great.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good. It's so great. Yeah. And then kind of like my last major question here, and I kind of took this based on one of the episodes you did a couple weeks ago. What's an adaptation you would like to see adapted? So like, what's like
a great
book,
question?
a video game, a comic, something that you're like, hey, it hasn't happened yet, but you think you would like to see it come to fruition?
That is a great question. Boy. Well, I'm going to cheat and say my number one on that episode was Lonesome Dove, and I hear they're making a remake, so I'm very excited about that. That's my favorite book. Can't wait to see that. Maybe I should look up here
Look
and
at your
look at the books that I got. One that I also would really like them to redo. So this is again kind of cheating because I've already done it. Is Ender's Game, which was a really fun book when I read when I was a kid or maybe a teenager. I don't remember when I read it. And they made a movie with Harrison Ford that wasn't very good, but I think it's a really cool sci-fi, and probably would benefit from a little bit more advanced technology around the filmmaking. And I just thought it was a really cool book. Sorry, I don't have a more clever answer for you,
No,
but that was a good
I'm with
question.
I'm with you too, because like all my favorite like books are just books I learned about because I had an adaptation already.
Right,
Like most of the things I read, it's like, oh, there's a movie coming out, so I'm going to read the book first, or I love
right.
the movie, let me go back and read the book. So I am with you 100%, unless we're diving into like comic book realm. So there it's
We
like,
could.
oh, there's like an issue blank 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 that would make a cool storyline,
Yeah,
whatever. But yeah, it's fair because then like I guess based on like our answers, it's more so like, oh, like what's a movie you think should be rebooted, and so that's I feel like a completely different
that's a
ballpark.
different animal. So I cheated a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Which yeah, I think, which again, like I think you guys talked a bit about that about on that episode of just
Yeah,
like
we did. Yeah,
your thoughts on the like reboot brand, and like I think you bring up a good point there where it's just like I would rather than reboot the things that either didn't age well or weren't adapted well enough. Like you brought up The Shining, where or someone brought up The Shining, where it was like, oh, it was adapted, but maybe not adapted the way some people wanted it to be adapted. So like that would be cool to bring back in like the current era, but
yeah.
instead it's like, hey, the movie that came out 5 years ago, let's do it the same way with no differences. It's like I don't want that. Like what? Like we have like Moana coming out next year, and it's apparently like a shot for shot remake exactly. It's like it just turned 10. Like give it a minute.
Let's let it breathe a little bit. I'm not a big fan of the direct shot-for-shot remakes of animation. I saw a lot of the earlier ones, and the recent ones, I'm just like you talked about this with the How to Train Your Dragon one,
Yes.
and I love the animated movie. It was great. That one blew me away in the theaters,
Yeah.
and then I just listened to what everybody said. It's like it's exactly the same. So it's like I've seen it.
It's which like that one's a shame because it's a very well made movie. Like it,
And
it
you said that, yeah.
it looks beautiful, it looks stunning, it checks all the boxes, but that's like, but it's the same movie. Like
I've
you
seen
could
it.
have literally just put the original back in the theater. I am excited for the sequel though, because they have said they're like adapting it differently. Like that, I don't know if you've seen all of them, but like the second
I have,
one is
yeah.
such a like bigger in scale movie and that has so much in it that like that's like one of my favorite movies of all time. But
Yeah.
like my only issue with it is like I wanted a bit more. Like in that third act, you could have expanded so many ideas and introduced so many new elements to it that like I'm at a point like do a 2-part movie and like really expand that story to like a bigger level if you're going to do it. I
Yeah.
don't need them to do it, but if you are going to do it, lean into it and do something really unique and special and like I don't know, make a new movie relatively than what's it's based on would be awesome. I would love to get like a new experience out of it if you're going to have to do it at all. Kind of.
And I think that's my point. I'm not against them remaking movies that have already been made, but if you're going to do it, make it different because we've all seen this movie's not that old. We all seen it already. And to your point, and I think you made this on the podcast, made the point where the second story is so much richer, is not as contained, and there's a lot of different directions that you can go with it. If they do that, I'm very interested. But if it again is just a copy paste, I'm not interested.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree.
They make money though.
They make. I mean, this like
So they're going to keep doing it.
This live action version made more than any of the animated ones did.
Oh,
So,
there you
like,
go. Yeah.
like, well,
They're
yeah.
going to do it.
And again, like I can't really argue the studio too much, being like, well, like why are you doing it? It's like, well, it's clear that's what people are wanting and asking for, and it's what makes the most money. Same goes for like the sequels, where it's like make some original stuff. It's like, Yeah, but you told them you didn't want original stuff. Like, you told
Right.
them, like, we didn't go see Elio, but we saw Zootopia 2, and that just kind of tells the studio exactly what they need to know.
And that's I'm saying the exact same thing whenever someone asks me about it, but I'm also saying that everybody should go to the theaters, and yet where's the, like people are going to see these movies in the theaters, so what the hell am I complaining about? As long as theaters stay open and I get to watch movies, I'm okay.
That is definitely true. I do think sometimes there's the, like, they need some, like, I love what and we'll get onto the main topic here in a second, but like Pixar does a very interesting thing where they've been very openly about, like, we have to make sequels to stay open. Like, we
Yeah.
literally have to make these these sequels to make the original content that we want to make. And
Yep.
I've been like, you know what? Hell yeah. I can support that, especially since they do this kind of back and forth thing from, like, all right, original, sequel, so they kind of, it's not just
Like
a
one for them and one
sequel.
for us,
Yes,
like one for the
100%.
masses, and then we're going to do our little side Elio project.
Sure. It's like, okay, I'll watch Toy Story 5 next year if it means I
Right.
can get hoppers.
Right,
So,
right, right. I didn't see Elio, and I feel bad about that. My kids had no interest, and I was like, I'm busy. I'm not going to go by myself, and I didn't see it. I feel bad.
yeah. They also didn't market it. They're like,
That's
why are
true.
you watching it? It's like, you didn't market the movie. People
I
didn't
didn't
know
even
it was
know it was
out.
out.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, speaking of didn't not knowing things were out, we're gonna
Right.
be hopping into a couple of these December releases. Some of these, the first one we're gonna be talking about was on your list of things to talk about today. I had not heard of it until I saw it on your list, and then I think you even talked about it on your. I think it was your discussion about, like, top 10 Netflix movies in your, like, Warner Brothers episode, if I'm not
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah, Jay Kelly. Yeah.
yeah. I you had said this, and I was like, there's a new Adam Sandler and, like, George Clooney movie on Netflix. I didn't know this existed, and now I'm thinking circling, like, the Oscar kind of, talks to, like, award season. I think it was maybe had a presence at the Golden Globes last night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which, at the time of the filming, the Golden Globes just happened. Shout out to all the winners of that. Tell me a little bit about this, because I know nothing about this. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, so I found out about it. I try to keep up with like the Oscar races
Yeah.
throughout the year, just so because like whenever I get to this time, I think you've already alluded to this earlier in the podcast. I'm always trying to play catch up to see all the movies before the Oscars. So I did know about this. I knew it was coming, and I didn't know much about it other than new George Clooney movie. So I checked it out, and essentially it's about an age. It's almost they made a joke, and I don't know if you watched the Golden Globes last night, but they made a joke that George Clooney was playing himself, and that is kind of what it is. He's playing an aging movie star
Okay.
that's trying to reconnect with his daughters and sort of reckon with some of the mistakes from his past. And it was a fairly straightforward telling of that story. Adam Sandler plays his agent, who was really good in the movie.
Okay.
I thought George Clooney was fine, and they kind of just relied on the George Clooney charm, which was again fine because he's very charming. It didn't totally work for me. After seeing it, I don't think it'll be in any of the awards races in earnest.
Mm,
It was a fine movie. I had fun watching it. Didn't really move the needle one way or the other for me. There was a really interesting single scene with Billy Crudup in the beginning of the movie that I thought was like the best scene of the movie. And then it had a kind of a controversial ending, which I won't spoil. But I thought the ending worked for me, and I enjoyed it. It's directed by and written, at least co-written by Noah Baumbach, and I usually like his movies. And I thought the writing and dialogue and exposition was a little clunky, but other than that, I had a good time, and it's easy to watch. It's on Netflix.
okay. Hell yeah. No, I think since I saw it as, like, one of the movies you wanted to kind of bring up today, I was like, then I started hearing about it, and again, it's that thing that, like, late year, like, start of the year, where it's like, oh, these movies that I have never heard of before are now
Yeah,
popping up.
yeah,
I may try and check it out, especially if it's going to be in, like, the Oscar categories. This feels like a movie though that may just kind of be up there. Again, I haven't seen it. Like maybe it's the best movie I've ever seen. I don't know. But like I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, these have two big names in it. Let's throw it in the Oscar conversation because
I
it's like,
think that's what happened.
yeah, where it's
And then
like,
people
oh,
saw it and were like, maybe not.
because like then the headline is like, oh, is George Clooney going to win his Oscar? Like that becomes the conversation.
Definitely.
So that's interesting. Is the ending as controversial as his Flash ending?
Another great question. I no, I don't think so. I think it, that's more of like a meta, controversial ending. That's a great question, and I wasn't ready for it. It made me laugh. I wish I could talk more about why the ending was controversial, but I don't want to ruin it because it's a pretty new movie. But with the Flash, I don't know. I feel like we all kind of saw that was sort of the ending of the DC EU.
Yeah.
And so everybody was like, whatever. Kind of like one of those. But I remember I watched that and I was like, oh my God, they got George Clooney to show up for 45 seconds.
That may be one of my only like speechless moments coming out of the new movie. Like I already had my thoughts on that movie and I was just kind of like, all right, well, we did that. That's probably like the worst. And like there was multiple endings I talked about for that movie and that's like easily my least favorite version.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, let's start something new up instead of wrapping up whatever. That's a side rant I don't need to back down on. But,
props to George Clooney for doing it though, because he has done nothing but like trash his Batman movie for the past 30 years or whatever, and then he did it. So I guess props for that. But it didn't really work.
Like again, I'm not against him like doing some kind of thing.
Sure.
It's always like a Batman Begins thing. Like, but again, like I would have preferred if he came back to maybe like fix his legacy as the character, to like redefine. It's like, oh wait, actually, my Batman was good after all. You guys just don't get it.
Yeah,
but, I think it kind of did the opposite, where it's like, oh, it's kind of like cemented you as
kind of just reminded us.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, the one people don't like. All right,
yeah.
But no, this how was Adam Sandler though? Like, because
Adam Sandler was good.
I feel like he's slowly, not completely because he still likes his comedies, but like I feel like he's slowly trying to get out of that like typecast he worked himself in for like 20 years, and now he's like, I make dramas now, guys. Actually, like
actually,
and he's very good. I haven't seen much, but I know what is it, Uncut Gems. He did.
He was great. Yep. Yeah, I thought he was really good in the movie. I was kind of hoping he would maybe get nominated for an Oscar because I just like Adam Sandler. After having seen the movie, I don't think he will. But you never know. But I don't think he will. But he was good in the movie.
Yeah.
He was probably my favorite part of the movie.
Okay. I feel like I kind of want to watch for him because I feel like anytime he's like, oh, I'm a drama guy now, I'm kind of like, you know what? Hell, like he just had a quote the other day where it's like, I'm going to make at least 50 more movies in my lifetime and 20 of them will be good. And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah.
Love that. Yeah. I saw that this morning on Instagram. I was like, way to go, Adam Sandler.
That's the energy that we want to see. Absolutely. Alrighty, moving on to our next one here. These I have talked about these two here a little bit, but not really in a full role. I think both these movies showed up in our like favorite things of 2025 that we did a couple weeks ago. Wake Up Dead Man and Knives Out Mystery, the third installment in what is it, Ryan Johnson's Knives Out trilogy, I guess.
Yes.
I love the first Knives Out. I think the first Knives Out is a beautiful movie. I think
I do too.
I don't love Glass Onion. I mean, I like Glass Onion, but I don't love Glass Onion.
That's what I've heard. And I'm sorry, I just interrupted you, but I'm just going to go real quick. I haven't seen it because my wife didn't like the first one, and so she just never wanted to watch it. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'll figure out a time. And I just never did. But then everyone was like, it's all right. Yeah. So I just never did. So I'll let you talk about it.
Mm-hmm. No, I think, like Glass Onion is like, I don't think it's as bad as people say. Like, I think some people I think because the first one is so good, and now this one, I like this is my favorite of the three movies that we've got.
Yeah.
So I think it's that like middle child syndrome where it's like the middle child isn't bad. They're just not the firstborn or the lastborn. It's
Right,
just like
right, right, right.
up in that middle. Like it's a fine. Like it feels like a streaming movie. It feels like something you'd see on streaming. It is fun.
Yeah.
The cast is great. It's chaotic. It's whatever, but it's not as clever or well written or groundbreaking. I think of the first one, and then this one was. But like again, I already talked about this one a little bit, but yeah, I think this movie is such a beautiful, heartfelt journey. I'm not sure if you said if you watched this one or not,
I
but
did, yeah.
you did see it. Okay, yeah. I was just kind of blown away with like the places that it went, and it kind of like sets your expectations up to be like where you think it's going to go for half of it, and you're kind of back and forth for a while, but then it like turns in a way where it's like, oh, I was not expecting it to go this like specific direction. So I
Right.
this is my favorite movie of 2025 as
Oh,
it's right
wow.
now.
Nice.
There's a lot I'm missing. I've only done about like 35 like new movies this year, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of like I haven't done the Weapons yet. I haven't done whatever that new Warner Brothers one with Leo is. One
One
Battle
battle after
After Another.
another.
I
Yeah.
haven't done that one yet, so I'm missing quite a few of the big ones. But as it stands right now, this and Sinners are my like top two that I kind of go battling back and forth at the moment.
Very nice. Yeah, this was a super fun movie. Like you said, they really set it up well. I really want to watch it again because I want to see if they set up what actually. Well, how do I say this? Because I don't want to ruin it for anyone that's. I want to see if they set up what actually happens better than they did in my mind. Because like mysteries are tricky. You want to throw people off, but you also want to leave the right clues in case someone's really paying attention. So I do want to see it again for that. But you know, one thing I really like is that these movies are clearly trying to be fun. All the actors are clearly having a good time, and they're just getting. This doesn't always work, but it works in these Knives Out movies and some other movies too, where they even the small parts, they're just getting big movie stars. They get the budget from Netflix. Just go get a bunch of big movie stars, and it's really fun to see everybody. And they're clearly having a blast. And even though it's like a pseudo thriller, it's also just like a screwball comedy at times. And I had a really good time watching it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, these movies feel like it's just like a bunch of actors on a playground with
it feels like they're on vacation.
Yeah, like they're just having the time of their life. And now it's this like, oh, like who are they going to get for this one?
Yeah.
What's the all-star cast? I think that's awesome. I love things like that in general. Like White Lotus is the same way. It's like, okay, which incredible actor is they going to get this season? So that's so much fun. I guess my only like major complaint about this one is like there are characters I think get a little underserved sometimes. Like there's some characters where I'm like, hey, like what's Jeremy Renner's deal in this one? Like it's like sometimes it's like very. Like the main couple get a lot of screen time, obviously, but like there's a couple that wanted, like Glass Onion in the first one, like they really dive into like who these characters are and kind of what their deal is, and I kind of, and again, like I wouldn't say make it longer because it's already a pretty like lengthy movie, and like anymore it probably gets a little bloated and a little pacing kind of gets it off a little bit. But like if I had one complaint, it'd be like, yeah, maybe I would have liked to learn a little bit more about some of these guys.
That's a great point.
Fun movie, great mystery. And again, it's so hard. I think as you keep going, it's like, how do you make it new? How do you make each one unique and new and not repetitive? Because again, like it goes in a direction where I was kind of like, oh, it's going to end like this. Like this is kind of where they're building to. And this is a twist. And I'm so glad not that that would have been bad because it still would have been interesting, but it's like, okay, it was predictable, So, shout out to Ryan. I do hope he does something else before his next one because I know he wants to do a few more of these. I do hope he kind of goes and does something else, just kind of like wet his palate, just kind of gets a fresh start.
Yeah,
kind of goes right back into another one of these. But
I'm with you. He's made a lot of cool movies over the years. Some of them are like really smaller movies in the beginning of his career that are really cool, and then he kind of did his Star Wars movie, and which has its supporters and its detractors.
Sure,
but these Knives Out, I think he's done only Knives Out the past
And
few
Star
years.
Wars, I think. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think even
okay,
Star
yeah.
Wars did this. Yeah.
And they're all good. Well, I mean, I haven't seen the second one, but everybody says
Yeah.
they're all at least good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good job. But I agree. I kind of like to see directors kind of. I say the same thing with Denis Villeneuve when he's done 3 Dune movies. I'd like to see him go do something else again, but now he's going to go do James Bond, which I'm fine with.
Yeah,
But
and like James, like that's a commitment. That's like at
that's
least
a
like
huge
a year.
commitment.
Yeah. So
So, yeah,
yeah,
I'm
and
with you.
again, now they're talking about like Dune, maybe a Dune 4, but with like a different person. If that, I know that's a concern for
Ooh,
people. So it's like,
I don't know
as someone
about
who's
that.
not a big Dune guy, I'm like, okay, let's see where they go. I know, I need
No,
to.
it's okay.
Yeah, I know, I'm,
I'm only
I'm,
hurt a
I'm
little bit.
I, I need to do them again. I didn't like
Oh
the
no.
first one. I was like really tired during the second one. I like make the joke because it's the only movie I've walked out of was Dune Part Two.
Whoa!
Not because it was bad. I was
You were
like, I'm
tired.
so tired. I'm not
Yeah.
consuming any of this. I rather do it when I'm like okay to actually consider because it's like it's a movie you have to pay attention to and take out all of
Yes.
the details. So I was like, I'm gonna come back to this, and I'm gonna
Also,
have to. Yeah.
I also think like the first one lost a lot of people and it was a lot of exposition, but they did it really well, but they didn't explain a lot. And I had read the books, so
Okay.
I kind of didn't need a lot of explanation. So when the first one came out, I wondered if people who hadn't read the books are going to be in this because they,
Mm,
I don't need the gaps filled in for me because I read the books. So
sure.
interesting.
For sure. Um, oops. Give me 1 second. Uh, Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. I'm not sure if you had caught this one or not.
I have seen it.
You've seen Frankenstein. Okay, awesome. I also talked about this one in my like best of. I think like almost everyone I had on the panel like had at least seen Frankenstein and was a fan of Frankenstein. This was one of the weird like I think like this is one of the like up in the air ones like at the like start of the year because like we all knew it was coming. I loved Pinocchio. I thought that was such a
Yeah.
brilliantly fun movie. So I was like, sure, I'll see a Frankenstein. I will say this was very different than I expected it to be. I don't know what
Yes.
I expected with a Frankenstein from, like this director. Obviously, Hellboy and so many incredibly, movies from over the years. But
Sure.
what did you think of Frankenstein? Were you a Frankenstein fan?
I didn't love it.
Okay.
And it seems to be a polarizing movie, and I
Yeah.
like a lot of people really love it, and a lot of people don't really love it, and there doesn't seem to be a lot in the middle, at least with my non-scientific sort of pulse on
Sure.
the situation. Um, One of my big things that I didn't like about it was the look of the movie, and I feel bad about saying that because Guillermo del Toro usually has wonderful looking films and does a lot of stuff practically, but it did to me look like it was shot on a green screen, which I didn't love. Now I say that like the sets were cool, the costume design were cool, like everything indoors was pretty cool. But then when they would show like the castle or whatever outdoors, it looked like a TV movie to me. That was my first thing.
Okay.
And then for me, I'm a big Oscar Isaac fan, but for whatever reason, his performance didn't work for me. And the first half of the movie was just kind of a slog to me.
Mm-hmm.
But once we got to the monsters story, I was kind of, I was much more back in. Like I really liked the stuff with him and the old guy
Yeah, that's
like the
good.
cabin in the woods or whatever, with the wolves. I thought that part was cool. And then I liked everything with the ship where they were kind of going back and forth to the ship.
Sure. Yeah.
But a lot of it just didn't really work for me. And I mean, I'm bummed because I really wanted to like it. And a lot of people really like it. So maybe I just need to watch it again.
Yeah. I did like Frankenstein. I was a Frankenstein fan. I don't think it's a perfect movie. I'm not going to say
Sure.
it's like, oh, it's the greatest piece of cinema. I think, it's like a 4-star movie for me. It doesn't quite
Mhm.
get that like 4.5 to 5 area.
Right.
I definitely agree with you with the first half or the first act, I should say, because I do think the first act is good. It's definitely, it doesn't catch me immediately though. I'm not like,
Right.
oh my God. Like I think once the movie kind of finds its footing, once it kind of reels you in it, I think it takes a while. It's like you're fishing and it's
I would agree
slowly
with that.
reeling
That's a
you in.
really good
Like,
point.
it's like, okay, I guess I'll go for the bait. I guess I'll see what they have in store. And I think once it gets you there, it's like, oh, okay, we're pulling the fish out, and this is really good. I personally liked Oscar Isaac quite a bit. I know people aren't a huge fan of Jacob Elordi as like I don't think it's the performance people don't like. I think it's like the like look. I think people were expecting like Frankenstein, like as
Right.
you would see in all the things, and so it looks more like I don't know, like a Marvel villain. But I
I actually
respected it a
really liked it
lot.
that
I
part.
did too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I don't know. I think again, I think whenever you're trying something different with a character that's been around for what 100 years, 70, however long Frankenstein's been a thing. I talk about this a lot with like DC. I'm not the biggest like Man of Steel guy, but I respect the hell out of it for at least trying something different and
Something
doing
different.
something
Yeah.
new. Yeah, with just all those characters, it's like it's at least ballsy to do something different with characters that have been actively in comics and movies and video games and shows
Totally
for
agree.
100 years. So it looks different. I thought his performance was really good. I can
It too.
understand the visual part of it. I think some of it looks beautiful. There are some shots where I'm like, it's still a Netflix movie. I think a Netflix movie has like a filter that they sometimes put over some of the things.
Yeah.
Um,
And
which
like that's just totally a personal preference thing, which I want to say again. Some people don't mind or even like it. For me, it's like an immediate the alarm bells go up,
mm,
which is probably not fair to the rest of the movie. But the alarm bells went up for me early, and then they didn't go back down. So that's just I should watch it again.
sure. I am curious. I know you again taught we already talked about it, but like you did your like Warner Brothers Netflix merger episode recently, and it's like okay, like again, I think Frankenstein's a good example. I think Knives Out's a good example, but like again, will these movies have kind of the same kind of look in a couple of years? Like, are we going to see like a freaking Harry Potter movie that kind of on the par of some of these movies or whatever it's going to be now that they have all the IPs and stuff like that, or about to. They're still finalizing all the details and stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like again, it is a good like I do think December was a decent pitch for Netflix in terms of like Knives Out and what we have like Narnia coming up. We have a lot of these big like Netflix has a couple things coming out next year, so it's like all right, Netflix, like it's not a bad pitch for you, but like I still have my concerns. And it just came out that
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, we'll give you the like 14 days. It's like that's not what you said originally. You wanted
Right.
I don't want to dive down a rabbit hole, but like I don't know, Netflix. Like
Makes
I
me
would have loved
nervous.
it on a big screen. I did not have the opportunity to see this on a big screen.
Likewise. And maybe
Yeah,
that would have changed my perception of it, honestly. I mean, usually when I watch a movie in theaters, there's like I like it 12% more than I would have,
yeah,
at least that I would have liked it at home. So we'll see. Yeah, the Netflix stuff just makes me nervous from like the macro, like what does this mean for movie making sort of a thing. And I talk a lot about that on the podcast. I will say that Netflix gets a lot of credit for giving the money and the creative freedom to their
true.
directors.
Yeah.
So not a lot of studios do that, and good job by them. But I am nervous that not only the Netflix owning such a large piece of the movie making pie, but also the streaming pie, and that like
I'm
what does this
nervous.
mean for movies getting made? What does this mean for how we consume movies? Does this mean my Netflix subscription goes up by 75%? I also I collect a lot of physical media, and like, will I be able to buy Frankenstein on Blu-ray? Probably not. Stuff like that. If this happened a few years ago, Sinners, I wouldn't be able to get that. I wouldn't be able to get One Battle After Another. I don't know this for sure,
Yeah.
but that's where my thinking goes.
That's something that's I think one of my biggest thing is like the physical media of it all that needs if you are getting Warner Brothers, one of the big let's be honest, one of the biggest industries in the world and what you're gonna be like, oh, you can't buy, you know, like Batman on DVD because it's a Netflix movie. I'm like, no, no, no. People need to be able to physically own these movies.
Right.
You've lost your mind. What do you like?
Right.
What you? We can't buy Dune Part 4 on DVD because it's on
Right.
net. Like that's so stupid. Like don't do that. That's such a dumb
Makes me
idea.
nervous.
It's so. I've gone over this a couple of times. I guess not on this Pacific show, so I guess I can talk about it. But yeah, like I need them to like Netflix has the opportunity after all the Paramount stuff to come out looking like a hero, to come out being like, actually, we're going to save cinema and we're going to give it the like 45 days and we're going to go onto physical media and we're going to
Yeah.
like they have the opportunity to come out of this, which at first they came out looking like the villains, be like, we're actually saving cinema, not hurting it. Like they have that opportunity if they don't squander it. So
Yes, I agree.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Alrighty. Next one I have here. This is another one that I have not seen, but I think you have seen.
Oh yeah, Hamnet.
This is another one. I had heard about it. It had been bouncing around, my social media feed. This is another one around Oscar season that's coming up quite a bit. I think it won a Golden Globe last night, if I'm not mistaken.
It did for Best Drama.
Best Drama. Okay,
and
incredible.
Jessie Buckley, the actress, won for Best Actress. I think
Incredible.
that might be it. But
tell me about this one because I know nothing.
So this is essentially, well, there's a major plot point. It's not, if you look it up, like, I don't know how much I want to say, but it's not a big spoiler because I feel like it's out there. Well, I'll just say it. Sorry if I'm spoiling this for anybody. This is essentially about William Shakespeare and his wife, and there's some of this is historically accurate, but very little. So that, like all the details, they're not really sure about. But so far as I know, William Shakespeare had a son named Hamnet, and they lost the son. And then to cope with his grief, he writes the play Hamlet, and it's essentially about that process, and it's a very emotional movie, and it's going to win a lot of awards, and people are going to really like it. Jessie Buckley is fantastic in the movie. She's won all the awards coming up to the Oscars. I think she'll win the Oscar if I had to put money on it right now. The movie didn't totally work for me. Like the emotional beats, for whatever reason, didn't really hit for me. And then the ending of the movie, which I won't spoil, was a big thing that worked for a lot of people. Worked for my wife. She was like weeping in the theater. Yeah. And I was like, this didn't totally work for me for a couple like tangible reasons. Again, I don't know if I want to spoil anything, but there were a couple of choices, like specific choices that I didn't really like. And then, I don't know, it was fine. I think I gave it 3.5. Like it's a good movie, but I wanted it to be one of those movies that I'm going to watch for the rest of my life. And it wasn't that for me. So it was good. I think everybody should see it. I think many people will like it, but be prepared because it's an emotional ride.
Hell yeah. No, I heard something about it. When I saw it, I was like, is this an adaptation of Hamlet? It's like, oh, so it sounds like yes and no.
Yeah, sort of.
Sounds like it kind of reminds me of like Tick Tick Boom, where it's like
that's a great
not
call.
An adaptation, but it's kind of about the adaptation and kind of how it got there.
You nailed it. Perfect.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I think Chloe Zhao is one of the big things that kind of makes me sort of excited. I would, if I'm not mistaken, that's the director of Internals. If my memory serves.
Which I never saw.
Ooh, fair. It didn't get a lot of talk.
My I think loves it, and he's like, "How have you not seen this?" But I just didn't see it. Bad job by me.
I think whenever one of these like Marvel directors kind of gets mishandled at Marvel, if in terms of the box office or just like the studio itself, I'm kind of just like, yeah, I'll try and support the stuff you do next. I'll try and like root for you in your next endeavors. And Chloe Zhao, I thought did a fantastic. I don't think The Eternals is a perfect movie, but it's a pretty solid movie. So like I'm definitely open and down to kind of check out more of their stuff. So, and again, this seems like it's going to be like another Oscar, probably Best Picture nom from just what I've been hearing around.
I certainly think so. It might be a contender. But it'll definitely get nominated. She also won the Oscar for Nomadland, I think, during COVID, which is a good movie. And this is more on lines of that as far as scope and scale. It's a smaller, intimate drama. But so it's, I guess, in some ways, she's kind of returning to her roots after the Marvel movie. But so we'll see what happens next. I'm excited to see what she does her career. Very talented.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, that's very, very incredible. I'll have to put it on my giant list of movies that I have to make. Speaking of Best Picture though, and like Oscars and like nominations and all that jazz, Marty Supreme is kind of the like I think like the talking point of movies right now.
Yeah,
Again, like this
I
is the
agree.
movie. Like I saw the trailer when it came out, and I was like, oh cool, some new Timmy movie, whatever. I didn't think too much of it. And then just like one day, I had like 5 people be like, "Have you seen Marty yet?" I'm like, "What are
The
you talking about? What is this?"
ping pong movie.
Like the ping pong, and now it's like, oh, it's the movie of the year. I'm like, where did this come from? I
Yeah,
hadn't heard about it until like last week, and now it's like the biggest movie that's ever come. And again, this happens all the time. This
yeah,
happened with Sinners this year.
yep,
This happened with K-pop Demon Hunters this
yep.
year. So many, again, around Oscar season, this happens all the time. Um, you made your video about it, over on TikTok. I'm not sure if you guys talked about it on the podcast or not, but uh, what's your kind of take on this one?
Um, I really liked it. I don't think this movie's for everybody, and some of it has sort of the anxiety sort of feel plot points, whatever you want to call it, from the Safdie brothers' first two movies. And this is, I think it's, I think I'm getting this right. This is Josh Safdie that directed this one. So they split up and did their own movies this year. And I thought it was great. Timothy Chalamet is like in almost every frame. I thought he was wonderful as always. I would say the first like 30 to 45 minutes of this movie, I was like, is this the best movie I've ever seen? I loved it. I loved the first ping pong tournament. I loved everything up in that. And then, it does get a little intense and it does get a little crazy. I didn't dislike any of that, but it didn't reach those same heights. And then, without spoiling anything, the last 30 minutes brought me back again. I just thought we were on cloud nine flying. We're doing great. The movies, it's great.
Yeah,
What did you think?
I'm kind of on the same page. I mean, I will say up front, like, I wouldn't say I like. This is one of those movies that I didn't necessarily like enjoy. Like, I wasn't like happy while watching the movie.
Right.
But again,
Yes.
that's like you're not really supposed to. Like, it's a movie that's not like a warm hug. It's like, oh, I like this is kind of a little bit uncomfortable watch sometimes. This guy's a freaking asshole. Like
Yes.
this guy sucks. So I
He's
didn't
terrible.
like enjoy watching him. Like him and most of the characters that are in the movie sucks. But again, that's the point. This is a very
Yes.
pretty world. We are seeing the part of humanity that we sometimes don't like to see out of people. We're seeing the greed, and we're seeing how the real world runs sometimes, and how it operates in such a fascinating way. So like I came out of it at first being like, I didn't really like that movie, but I think
Oh,
I've not
interesting. Yeah.
a little bit. I'm like, okay, it's very good. It's a very good movie. It's
Yeah.
not in my like top like I think it's like my number 4 right now in terms of like movies of 2025. But like I didn't have the excitement I had for something like Sinners, which was
Right.
such
Right.
like grand experience I got on sit on the big screen. I didn't have this like Wake Up Dead Man that was just like, oh, this is such a fun ride.
So much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a movie you kind of sit there and you experience it. It's like, all right, I'm going along my day, but that was a great, fantastic movie. I definitely
I
agree
think
with
you
you
hit
though.
on something important too, is that this guy's a jerk. So I think a lot of people are gonna. I know a lot of people are going to have a little bit of trouble connecting with the character. I encourage everyone to go see it and make their own opinion about it and see if you can connect with the movie in some other way. But the movie's centered around a not good guy, and that happens sometimes. And those movies can be polarizing.
Mhm. Like you said, it's not for everybody. Like it's like this does not feel like a general audience kind of movie. This
I would
feels
agree.
fully cinephile. If you love movies and how they're edited and how they're acted and how they're paced, yeah, this is a movie for you. Like the editing's fantastic, the acting's fantastic, the directing's fantastic. Like across the board, yeah, very well made.
Yeah.
You can kind of see, it's very Oscar coded to
Yes.
a point where like sometimes it's like, did they have it in mind when they were making the movie? Because you do have those like
Yeah.
Oscar baby
You
kind of
never know.
movies. So I was like, maybe. I don't think that's necessarily a
Maybe.
bad thing. Like I know some people are like they hate when that happens. I'm kind of like I don't hate it. If people like getting awards, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not anti Oscar bait sometimes if it's good.
neither am I.
Um,
But you have to nail it.
yeah, yeah,
Like Jay Kelly, which I talked about earlier, that kind of seemed like an Oscar baity movie. Didn't totally nail it to me, and now it just, I think it's going to get swept to the side.
hmm
But we'll see.
yeah. And like I do agree about like the second act kind of like it kind of feels like they went on a stroll and they kind of got lost a little bit and then they found their way back to the path where it's like there was a point where I'm like how the hell did we get here? There's a bathtub and there's like
Yeah,
hotels and there's like a bowling alley and I'm like what happened to the ping pong? Like I
yeah,
was
we lost the plot a little bit. If
a
they
little
had gone
bit.
5 more minutes, I might have been like, "What are we doing? I'm out." If it had gone 10 minutes shorter, this might be my favorite movie of the year. We're kind of in that balance, but it did go on a long time, and I was ready for it to change, and they changed it right
Yeah.
right before I might have like clicked my brain off a little bit.
I do fully agree though, because and sweet, because I'm not really a sports guy. Like I'm not like super hyper, on sports. But like when sports movies are done well, like we had Challengers a couple years ago, and I kind
Yeah,
of think that's what I went in expecting. Like I thought it was like, oh, it's Challengers, but for ping pong kind of
right,
vibe.
yeah, a little bit.
And like it is for like about an hour of this movie. Like when we get the ping pong stuff, it's great. It's Challengers. It's Remember the Titans. It's like those great sports movies that you love. The editing is so good. I love how like I don't know, low key it feels sometimes. Like you're watching it. Sometimes it doesn't really feel like a movie. It kind of just feels like you're watching Timothy Chalamet play ping pong. It
Yeah,
doesn't feel too overproduced. Sometimes it does. Like there are some
yes,
scenes where it's like, okay, this is a movie. But like those scenes when they're just going back and forth, like that feels like just them
great
playing ping pong.
stuff.
If that felt real to me, I thought that was really, really good. Um, I'll also say I do think like I don't know how much of it is like a bit for the marketing, but there's like I do think Timothy Chalamet and this character is getting like kind of close. Like I feel like his whole thing in real life is like I want to be the best, I want to be the greatest. And
Yes.
in like recent like interviews, it's like, well, I am the greatest, I am the best. And I like while I'm watching this, I'm kind of like, is this just Timothy Chalamet? Like I feels like some of this character has kind of rubbed
I
on
think it
some
is.
people.
And I've also noticed, like, in the past week, that he's sort of changed his tune a little bit. Maybe like he got some advice like, hey, brother, like cool it down a little bit if you want to win the Oscar, like you don't want to piss people off. It does
That's
seem
what I
like
was.
he's changed
Yeah,
his tone.
yeah. I think like because I do think he could win. I do think he could win the Oscar for this. I could see it.
I do too.
Especially since the Oscar loves a good story. They
Yeah.
love an underdog. I think his whole thing. Like I think it was the Golden Globes last year, not the Oscars. But like his like, I inspire to be the best. I inspire to be the greatest. I want to be among
Yeah.
the greatest. And so I do think they probably have that in mind. Like that's a decent storyline. Let's bring that in and let him win the. So I do think at this point it's probably it. I think it's between Timmy and Michael B. Jordan.
I,
Yeah.
I think I would agree.
Yeah.
I hear Wagner Mora for The Secret Agent, which I have not seen yet, is getting a lot of pub too. And that just came out in theaters. So I haven't gotten to see it yet. So we'll see.
Fair, fair. But yeah, I like this. This is fun. I'm glad I got around to it. Um, again, I'm really hoping to get caught up on some of my bigger like again like I'm like this is the time of year I fully like make my 2025 list. Like I did my list at the end of the year, but it's like those are like the blockbuster movies I saw.
Yeah.
Now it's time to fully fill out my list of like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
year.
I'm the
So
same way because a lot of them get dumped right at the end of the year, and it just takes a
yeah,
while to get to them all.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But to end the last movie I have on this list, and actually this is a great transition into the blockbuster movies
Oh
of
yeah,
the year. Avatar: Fire and Ash, third installment in the Avatar
yes,
franchise. Maybe the last, probably not the last. With how good it's doing at the box office right now.
correct.
Close to $1 billion at the box office, which
Unbelievable, they did it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's no Way of Water that got like I think they were kind of around the 2 billion mark at this point.
Right.
I don't think it's. I do. I've said all year. I do think this will be the lowest, highest grossing Avatar movie. Like I've said, it's going to do well. It's not going to do the level of Way of Water and the first
Right.
one for obvious reasons. But Way of Water. I mean, Avatar still has a giant pull, especially around holiday season. People love seeing these blue guys on the big screen with their Christmas trees and their Christmas cookies. Um, Before we just like dive into this one, and again, I don't have like a lot to say, but like, what's your take on just the Avatar franchise? Because again, this is one of the first franchise. I mean, I guess we had the Knives Out of it all too, but are you a fan of the previous ones as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, so my take on the franchise is that it's the biggest franchise that I don't hear talked about when there's not an Avatar movie
Sure.
coming out.
Yeah.
I don't know how the math works out. I hit shut my microphone. Everybody on the planet has seen it, but when there isn't one like imminently coming in the theaters, I don't hear anybody talk about it ever, which is just fascinating to me. I like the Avatar. It's kind of hard not to like the Avatar movies, you know. They're pretty straightforward in their storytelling, which is not a knock. Sometimes I like it when things get a little simpler. The visuals are incredible. It's a great theater experience. I wouldn't say it's my favorite. You know, it's not my favorite thing, but I really like going to see them in the theaters. And like I said, it's just hard not to like them on some level.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I've been back and forth, man, because I think I do agree with you. When I'm not actively watching an Avatar movie, I'm not like the biggest Avatar fan. Like I'm never
I'm
going
with
to
you.
like I'm never going to be like, "Oh boy, let's talk about Avatar." But when I'm literally in the seat
In the
watching it
seat.
before I'm highs, I'm like, "Let's freaking go. Let's do this."
Yeah.
Um and I do think this is my like I'm not going to say this is the best Avatar movie. I'm not going to say it because I don't think I believe that.
I would
But I
agree.
think this is the most I've enjoyed and been invested in an Avatar movie.
Oh,
And maybe that's just because like maybe it's like a Stockholm syndrome thing. Maybe it's just but like I think I've just now been like, okay, I've spent enough time with these characters
yeah.
that now I'm into it. Like in the same way of like maybe you don't like a season of television until the end where you've now spent like 9 hours with these characters and you really
Right.
kind of get the full grasp of it. Where it's like, okay, I spent a couple of hours and like the first one, I'm really not a big fan of the first one. Like, I think the first one's it's good, but
Mhm.
I personally am not that into it. Way of
Yeah.
Water, I was like, oh, okay, this is fun now. And then this is really, and I've heard a lot of people say this, and I fully agree. This is really Way of Water Part Two. This
It
is
really is.
and like he said this that like this was supposed to be one like 6 hour movie that for obvious reasons they decided to split into two separate movies, which was the right direction, which was the right way to go. But this was fully like it really wasn't an Avatar Part 3 to me. It was like, oh, this is just an extension of that second movie that we
I
now.
agree. It was kind of a rehash of the second movie. Even the final set piece was extraordinarily similar to the second movie.
Yeah. Those third acts of all these movies are all kind of like the same. Like they're like, okay, the big bad guy gets someone he loves and they have a giant battle on a big thing and there's they're all kind of very, which I think is where this movie kind of lost me a little bit, was in that third act. Like I think this one they were trying new things, or these new elements. There was a really, I like these movies focus on like mental health and
Yeah.
grief and where we belong in the universe and like acceptance, and they were doing these really really interesting elements. And I do think not that they lose those elements in the third act, because there's still some great stuff in that third act, but it does I think you feel the length. I think you kind of feel the pacing. I was kind of ready to get up and go like at the end of the second act, thinking it was about over. I was kind of
Yeah.
gathering my stuff. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, this is a good movie. I was like, this is good. And then I was like, oh, I think there's an entire like hour left of this movie.
Right.
Which again isn't inherently a bad thing, but you do feel it. I think you feel that runtime.
You feel it. If you have not seen this movie yet, don't drink any water before you go see it because it's a long one.
3 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Which
We could have found 40 minutes to shave off of that guy. I'm sure we could have.
I think that's my biggest. And again, I know some people would disagree because again, like if this was like a TV show, I'd be like, oh, like hell yeah, this is great. But again, since you're sitting there for 3 hours 20 minutes, it is a big boy, and I
It's
do sometimes struggle with. I sometimes struggle with like these 3+ hour movies on the. I don't know, but then it's a personal choice too because I sat there with like Avengers Endgame, which was like what 318. I'm like hell yeah. So maybe it's just like a
yeah,
personal preference. I know like The
I'm with
Irishman
you.
was what 4 hours, and that was like that wasn't in cinemas, but still like that was like one of the long. It was like oh my god, okay,
Too long.
so
We need some scissors to that thing. I like The Irishman, but too long.
it's.
They-
I'm actually glad that's a Netflix movie because I
yes,
had to break it up.
and
Like I treated that like a TV show.
that's
I
a
did
good
like an
call.
hour a day for like
Yeah,
half a week.
yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. You said all the things that I wanted to say. And then there are moments when you can't help but get swept up in it. It's like
Yeah.
when you said you wanted to talk about this, I hadn't planned on seeing it in theaters because I hadn't seen it yet. I figured it was going to be out of theaters at some point. I'll just see it on
Sure.
Netflix. I can get up and use the bathroom whenever I want to.
Sure.
But my kid, one of my son's really into it, and so I was like, hey, this guy invited me on his podcast. We got to go see Avatar. He was like, rock and roll, let's go. And I was like, so we went and saw it on Saturday night, and I wasn't really that excited about it. But I got to be honest, for a movie I never think about until there's a movie coming out. When that music hits, man, I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like, oh right, Avatar.
Uh,
I'm in, and
yeah.
I enjoyed myself. I don't even know if I'll ever watch it again because I'm assuming the same thing's going to happen where I'm not going to think about Avatar until the next Avatar is coming out.
Yeah.
But like you said, when you're actually in the seat, it's pretty good movie making.
Yeah.
James Cameron knows how to make a movie.
These are beautiful. Like these are very beautiful movies,
It's gorgeous.
I do kind of think if you're going to watch them, they has to be on the big screen. Like I don't think I'd ever want to sit down on my couch and watch Avatar, and which is because I just saw it like last week. It's been out for almost a month at this point, and it took me weeks to go and actually watch it. Because again, I wasn't too invested, especially what I heard. Like I know reviews on it was like the most mixed
Yeah.
out of the three. So I was like, okay, if I'm not in love with the first two, I'm not gonna like this one. Which
Right.
I don't think is necessarily a good metrics. Never trust Rotten Tomatoes as your full metric for what's good and
Yeah.
bad, as always. But like my role is like because if I did not sit there and watch it in a theater, I was never going to watch it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go see it on the big screen, have that experience, and it's a great experience. It looks beautiful as always, especially like the water sequences, which is why I think the A Way of Water so much because like the water
Right.
sequences they did in that second one was so gorgeous, and again definitely feels like an extension of that. I will say for a movie called Fire and Ash, I was expecting more fire and ash. It was very much like
Just water again.
water again with a little bit of ash.
A little bit of ash. I did think the cool. This is only like what 10 minutes in the movie, but the wind traders thing with their flying sail ships,
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. I was like, oh, so
Yeah.
adding a little something new. And then that ended pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
it was maybe they're teasing Avatar Wind and Air or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was pretty, like I said, it wasn't my favorite movie of the year, or I don't even think it was a great movie, but
It's fun.
it's hard not to, there are moments. It's hard not to get swept up in it.
No, there's like I think it's just, again very like individual moments where I'm like, oh, this is my favorite stuff in the franchise. So like
Yeah.
when like they think they have to like sacrifice Spider and they like
Oh yeah.
enable him as they like take him out inside the forest and they have to do like that. I was like, oh, this is the most invested I've been in the Avatar franchise.
Yeah.
This is so unbelievably well done and good, and some of the best action we've seen and some of the best dialogue.
Sure.
Some fantastic stuff here. But yeah, again, I think if it wasn't for that third act, this would be my favorite. But again, that third act is just so bloated at times. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There's at least a good 20 to 30 minutes that could probably be
Yeah.
trimmed off and maybe put in better places and stuff like that. But Are you down for whatever they have next? I know James Cameron has kind of been like, we might not even do a new one, but it's like, man, you've been filming this for like forever. Like you're clearly going to make 4, 5, and 6. And he's even talking about like 7, 8, and 9 and all this stuff. And so, are you? Do you want more inside this franchise? Are you hoping it ends as a trilogy? I know some even some of these other directors have been like, hey, I would like to direct an Avatar movie. James Cameron has not directed a movie outside of Avatar in a very long time as well, which
Well,
is
I
kind
think
of
that's where you hit the nail on the head for me. In the same way that Ryan Johnson, you kind of want to see him go off and do other things. Listen, James Cameron's old. He's made some of my favorite movies of all time. Still looks young and spry. I think he's got more in the tank, but
yeah.
he's getting on in years. And if he spends the next 10, 15 years making more Avatar movies, to me, that means we're not getting any other James Cameron movies out there, which I would like to see if he has any inclination of doing it. Kind of piggybacking on the point that we made where I never think about Avatar. If they made another one, I'd go see it. But am I asking for it? No, not really. I mean, I don't really care if they make another one of these or not. If they do, I'll see it. But if they don't, fine.
I would be incredibly down if because James Wan I think recently came out and said, yeah, I would love to like give a stick at it. I would love if they kind of gave like the next trilogy a different coat of paint, a different director.
Yeah.
I think that's what they really need. I'm fine with this trilogy kind of being what it was because it does kind of work as a trilogy, but like if 4 is just kind of it's the Sky People versus the Na'vi again in the way that they've done it, I don't want to do this again. I think you need to do something very radically new concepts, new ideas, and so maybe it's a franchise that would really benefit from a new director,
a fresh
artist.
look.
Like, hey, I have a really cool idea with where I want to take this, and then James Cameron gets to do Terminator 57 or whatever he wants to do next. Whatever new, maybe something new, something fresh would be great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that would be my vibe. I don't know, but again, like here he has a title. And what the next one's like Seed Bringer or something like that, or like Seed something.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I definitely saw that there was plan for like you said, 5 or 6 of them with titles, but I don't remember what the titles are.
It's like Seed Bringer or something like that. So it's like
Seed
it
Bringer.
seems something like that. So it's like, all right. Just do your thing. I mean, again, I think artists being able to work on what they're passionate about as well is also very important. Like, if this is what James Cameron wants to do for the rest of his life, good on him that he.
Who are we to say no?
Exactly. Like, you get to kind of do that and live your dream. And
but I hope it's not a big water battle with whales and finishing on with a giant ship to finish the movie. 3 movies in a row.
There needs to be something just a little
different,
fresh and new and different. Well, Josh, I mean that's all I kind of have on the docket for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was I didn't have a lot planned for today, but I think it turned out to be a very fun episode. Thank you so much for being here, Josh. Where can we find you? What are you working on? Anything you want to shout out, promo for people to go check out?
Yeah, well, first of all, Darren, thanks for having me. I had a blast. This was great. And anytime you want to talk movies, I'm down. I'm doing it anyway. Like we said, might as well hit record and jump on with some friends. I host the Long List podcast, co-host with my brother, the Long List podcast, Long List one word. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. The next project for this year, well, we have a lot of content projects that we're trying to work through. But we got to do what you're doing and get on video. We've tried it once, and I have the video. I might put it up, but I just think that's the next step is doing video, getting more intentional with the content direction that we're going in, and setting up a calendar and doing like that, kind of like the things you were talking about. Just like every week, we don't want to be flying by the seat of our pants. Let's get focused. Let's get it going and rock and roll.
Hell yeah. Well, go check them out. I've been listening to a couple this week, and they were, again, absolutely incredible. You guys have great chemistry. You guys.
That's a really nice thing to say. Thank you.
You guys, I think you guys have done the hard part already. We're just finding your style and your template. And you guys have, of course, like once I found out that like you guys were brothers, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. You guys have such great chemistry, and like you guys have known each other for years. It just makes sense. You have known each other.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
You have nailed everything. So of course, go check that out. We will obviously have it all, their channel and their podcast links, for you can go check it out on your own. And that's what YouTube and the like streaming platforms like Spotify and stuff like that, right?
On them all.
Alrighty, well, go check them out. Obviously, stay until I click end, Josh, for I can properly say goodbye to you. And yeah, I will see you guys on the flip side.